Hi guys, I know that I'm not the only one that thought that this excerpt was so cool that we actually bought the book. And I remember Ram Dass from something else that I've been listening to. So I think that it's incredible and I'm eager to keep learning about it. Okay, so what I think it means for us who are in the helping profession is to continue on our own journey of finding compassion and understanding our own suffering so that we can better help others. I'm going to read one of the parts of the excerpt that I thought was really profound when talking about this. Our tendency when we acknowledge qualities in ourself, like fear of suffering or loss of control, may be to judge ourselves. Found selfish, uncaring, impatient, unworthy, we're embarrassed and uncomfortable at the recognition of our weakness. We've not taken to heart the example of the biblical Paul, who said, "My strength is made perfect through my weakness." Yet this often turns out to be the case in our efforts to care for others. Acknowledging our weakness can soften our defenses, so on and so forth. I could keep going with it. So I think that it's a reminder that that the pain of life will always be there, but the suffering doesn't have to be. The other part of this that I loved was that Buddha is recognized in the excerpt, and when I'm being really intentional about how I handle my suffering, there's a mindset, and that's like my goal of how I want to be. And I know that panic, anxiety, fear, and other things, just Katieisms, can come in and take away from the patience and the love that I have for myself when I'm trying to just be compassionate with my own suffering. But I have a goal, and it's sort of how they recognized how the Buddha handles suffering and the disconnect between what our minds tell us this is pain and the actual all-consuming fear of suffering. So it says, there's a foundation stone of the teaching of Buddha, okay? He saw that if we could break that link between painful conditions and the reactiveness of the mind, that there was hope of liberating ourselves from the continuous experience of suffering. He realized that pain alone is not the enemy. The real enemy is fear and resistance. So that's my goal. Pain, anxiety, fear, resistance, it's all coming in, but I think ultimately that's what I strive to do. So the only other piece that I thought was just really wonderful and made me think back on my own life experiences was when my mom was going through chemo treatments. She was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and she had to go through 8 rounds of chemo, and she asked me to be the person who would take her to all the chemos. I thought that I had an idea of what it would look like to get these long chemo transfusions, and that I could lovingly be there for her, and maybe read to her, maybe have some like moments of just like really like gentle like quiet time. But she wanted to play card games and cribbage literally the whole time. She didn't want to be reminded in that moment that she was suffering, or that she was a victim, or that that was just how she handled it. She wanted to play cribbage literally the whole time. She would fall asleep with the cribbage cards in her hand while she was getting these chemo transfusions. And there was a nurse that she loved the most and asked for every time, and her name was Renee. And she would come over and run her lines for a community play that she was in with my mom. My mom wasn't in the play. She would run the lines with my mom. So she was like nun number 8 in this play, and she wanted to run through the lines and did it in like a really joyous way. But that's all my mom wanted. That was compassion and love to her. That was in those moments of suffering that compassion looked really different for what she wanted. And Renee was self-aware enough, had worked through her own stuff enough to realize that that's how that she could best be there for one of her patients in that moment. So this was really wonderful. Hopefully everyone else took away as much from it as I did. It was one of my favorite things so far that we've gotten the chance to read, and I'm looking forward to seeing what everyone else said.